What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or GameOverJesse, as all of you may know me. Here with us on this discussion video is Kayla, Daniel, and Illya. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 things that we hate, dislike, or would like to change about the Zelda theory before you comment saying that, why do you hate Zelda, blah blah blah, unsubscribe. This is a counter video to a video that we put up yesterday, recording live right now, but this video will go up a day after we upload a video on the top 5 things that we love about Zelda. So to make sure we're not biased, we're covering the top 5 things that we love and the top 5 things that we hate. This is all part of a greater podcast that we had where we interviewed the voice actor Sean from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. He was in a bunch of other games and anime, the most recent being Project Octopath Traveler. So he played 2 characters in that, but we mainly reviewed him about his experience with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So go watch those as well. But starting us off on this video, and be sure to let us know what you would like to change or what you dislike about the Zelda series. But Kayla, would you like to start us off this time?
Yes. So for me, I was actually kind of thinking about rain first and foremost. But also some of the boss designs, like for me, that's a really big thing. It's like some of the boss designs are amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, I love them. But other times, like, I feel like it's just like really like reused, rehashed. Like, I feel like I've seen it a lot as far as like Legend of Zelda games go. So, yeah, for me, that's my big thing. Like, I personally like the mini bosses more than I actually like the bosses, just because I find mini bosses have a little bit more diversity with them. Because if you think about like Twilight Princess, for instance, like the mini boss there was fun. I enjoyed it. The actual boss,
So, you jokingly said the rain, a reference to Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I'm very serious about the rain.
But you, your actual pick is the bosses from the series. Breath of the Wild especially had a lot of negativity for the feedback to its bosses, because it kind of, instead of getting, they could have designed the boss to look a bit different, and they could have like kept all the moves the exact same, the fight patterns and everything, just kept it all the exact same, but give it a different name and a different look, instead of making them all just different versions of Calamity Ganon. So if it was...
Well, they missed a huge opportunity to make all those boss fights corrupted versions of the
Guardians. Yeah, because then you would be fighting against...
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That's what happened in past Zelda games with Skyward Sword fighting against the Levias.
Yeah,
it was a corrupted version. The Parasite was taking over it. Twilight Princess had
Zelda.
Yeah,
and,
Puppet Zelda.
What's
the
it called?
Ice Dungeon.
Fyrus, who is the Goron, Darbus.
Corrupted. Yeah, their champion or whatever that was called. And then there was the Ice Dungeon. The Yeti, I forgot its name. But you had to fight against her, and it was like an evil version. So this is something...
And Majora's Mask, too. I think I always interpreted in Majora's Mask, the bosses were like the giants, and they had those masks on that corrupted them.
Yeah.
And turned them into those bosses. That was my interpretation of those boss
I've never
fights
thought about that.
Because then when you get the mask, it's like you freed the spirit that was trapped inside, and then the giant is like, "Hey, you saved me."
Yeah.
Next
so that was
time
always
on Zelda
how I,
theories.
Possibly.
that was always my interpretation.
I'll have to
Now
talk
you have
to
to
you
play
about
through
that.
Majora's Mask again.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll have to talk to you like tomorrow or something, where you can go more in depth on this with me. But and also comment below in the comments, because lately we've been trying to have discussions on Zelda theories. So if there's a Zelda theory or this theory that you would like us to discuss, let us know. But yeah, like this is something that Nintendo's done a lot before, having you fight corrupted versions of people. So it would be really interesting if it was like that. Gibbs in the live chat says Blizzetta.
Yes.
Was that the name?
Blizzetta was the boss you were
Yeah.
thinking of.
Yeah.
I think she was Yeto, and then when she was corrupted, it was Blizzetta.
Yeah. So that would have been
Something.
really cool if it would have made the different versions, because again, like, you could realistically have a boss fight where it's just like a reskin version of Calamity Ganon. Instead of like shooting the rockets at you or something, maybe it's Rivali like shooting a bow and arrow at you. You know? And
Yeah,
then-
and
Imagine how
he's
painful
using
it would
the-
be to have to beat and destroy a possessed Mifa.
Yeah.
That would
I don't
break
think
your
Axel would
heart.
beat the
Oh.
game.
No, so that's another thing is the water version of Calamity Ganon. I forgot the name, but
Water
it was
Blight.
Water
Yeah.
Blight Ganon had the giant like fish hook thing, right?
Yeah.
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 And that could have totally just been like the staff that Mifa,
Her trident.
yeah, her trident.
Yeah.
So it all works out. Maybe it was an idea they had, and then they just changed it to Ganon or something.
Yeah, maybe.
So- But yeah, what you were saying, the bad things, obviously we're talking about how it could have been better, but with the bosses, they reuse a lot of stuff. Like, how many times have we went in and fought like a different version of Goma? And then in Twilight
Yes.
Princess, it was even the worst boss fight in Twilight
Oh.
Princess.
Yep.
You
So-
don't even really fight him. You just make a
Yeah.
statue do it.
Like, I think Goma first appeared in the first Zelda game.
Yeah.
And then Ocarina of Time had a really cool fight with Queen Goma to where you had to shoot her down off the wall. She hatched eggs that attacked you. Like, it really went all out in that
That
boss
was a
fight.
really fun version, but I feel like after that, they probably should have just stopped.
Yeah. So whenever it returned in Twilight Princess, I was like, oh, this is really cool because, you know, nostalgia. But then it's like the crappiest boss fight where it's like, oh, you just get a statue to hit it. Like, if it was just a Twilight Princess version of the Ocarina of Time fight, it would have been really, really cool. Especially
Yeah.
in the trailer for Twilight Princess. I'm getting off topic and I'm sorry, we'll move on. But in the trailer for
Okay.
Twilight Princess, it shows the giant spider chasing after you in the tunnel.
Yes, which was later reused in Spirit Tracks, and that
Yeah.
is actually really fun and anxiety and thing. Like
Yeah.
you're like going, your heart's like pounding. You're like, oh my god!
Yeah, but imagine if in Twilight Princess,
real good.
like, Queen Goma was chasing you down a dark tunnel, and like that's part of the boss fight or something. Anyways, moving on. Daniel. Gary.
The-
What?
What?
What? You said
It would
Gary?
be scary.
Oh, okay.
It would be Gary.
Scary. Scary.
I was thinking of like SpongeBob,
Oh.
like
Wow.
the giant snail chasing you. There's a mod
I'm
out there for
gonna-
Breath of the Wild for it, probably.
Probably. There's some weird mods. So my next choice here for things I don't like is the tropes.
Yeah.
So how many times do we have to go through a forest dungeon, a fire dungeon, and then a water dungeon, and then we get the three red, green, and blue things, and then we get the Master Sword, and then we get to, and then something happens that makes it like, okay, I don't know, there's some things.
No.
It's no.
I
No?
love that.
Really?
I was gonna say I really like that in Breath of the Wild. It's like of strength, endurance. Like that's the
Yeah.
test for the Master Sword.
Yeah.
Whereas other games, like I feel like it's really just handed to you. Like yeah, you go through these dungeons and stuff, but it's like I have to collect these rocks, or
Yeah.
I just
My
No,
heart.
it's there's different approaches to it in different games, and
My
in some of those
heart.
I really like it how it's done. But overall, the whole this was just an example of a trope that occurs.
Yes,
Not all
just
tropes
one.
are inherently bad, but Zelda is riddled with tropes that occur throughout the series. And Breath of the Wild was a huge step in
Yep.
stepping away from those tropes and being like, okay, these are things that happen all the time in Zelda. Jesse, come back. Think about it though.
Jesse,
Like
stop
some of
sulking.
my favorite Zelda games are always the ones that do something really different, but are still inherently Zelda, right? So Majora's Mask, for example, ditched that formula. Just Jesse, come back.
we know you can hear us.
Jesse, no.
Oh,
Jesse, Jesse. Jesse.
I gotta say, I like
Jesse,
this.
no. I'm sorry, Jesse.
All right, I'm back.
Anyways,
Okay.
yeah. So the best games are the ones that really just go out of the box and do something totally different. So Majora's Mask, for example, ditch that formula. You got only 4 dungeons, and the bulk of the experience is outside of those dungeons. Twilight Princess is the exact opposite of Majora's Mask. The bulk of the experience is in the dungeons. There are side quests and stuff, but there's not as much, maybe not as fleshed out as Majora's Mask, for example. Wind Waker ditched the overworld and just water. And that game is fun because it's got its own thing going on. So when they sort of ditch those tropes and go like, okay, we're gonna just do something just so left field that everyone is gonna be like, what? That's Zelda? That's the next Zelda? And it is polarizing for the fans. That's when they can really they get something really magical there. That's what I find. So keep trying new things because that's when it gets good. This thing I don't like is starting to turn into a positive thing. So someone take it away for the next thing.
I was gonna. All right, so I was gonna say that I really like the how every game's different, but then there are stuff that carries over, like the Skyward Sword was the first game where they tried breaking the formula, except at that point their idea of like getting rid of the tropes, like Daniel was talking about with Skyward Sword, a lot of people didn't notice, had no torch puzzles. There's no lighting a torch puzzles.
Right.
I think they try to get away from
Even
the
Breath of the
block.
Wild has those.
The block pushing puzzles, I think they try to get away with as well. Whether it was just pushing a normal block, like there's an entire room in the Forest Temple dedicated to like pushing the big blocks to like 3 different tiers. I think there's one on the bottom, the one on the top, and then the 3rd level.
Yeah.
I might be confusing. It's probably just 2 stories, not 3. But anyways, there's rooms dedicated to just block puzzles and older Zelda games. And then Skyward Sword, I don't think had any block puzzles. There was no light puzzles. There was no lighting the torch puzzles. I think there was.
There was a puzzle where you have to do this.
Oh yeah, there was no puzzles to where like you're shooting the eyeball. I think.
No, because you make it dizzy like this.
Yeah. You still had to hit the crystals to like open a gate or something. And then I don't think they had any switches that you step on.
And no boomerang. Because
Yeah.
they replaced it with the beetle.
Yeah. So they took away a lot of the stuff at that point that they felt were like traditional for Zelda. And then A Link Between Worlds came next and they made more changes, and then Breath of the Wilds where they really dug in and took out a lot of the stuff. But I like the idea of like Ocarina of Time, A Link to the Past, not Breath of the Wild. You can do it in Breath of the Wild if you want, but it's up to you. Skyward Sword, to where it's like forest area, fire area, water area. I like that.
Right.
Because it makes it feel Zelda to me. And I think I was going to say that's how I played Breath of the Wild, but I think I went to the Zoras first. Most people
Me too,
go
actually.
to the Zoras. So, but anyways, that's
Yeah.
what I really, really like about the
like,
Zelda things.
But like Wind Waker, okay, the first dungeon you go to isn't even
Fire.
you don't finish the dungeon. It's Forsaken Fortress. You lose your sword.
Yeah.
The first thing that happens, you get to a dungeon area, you lose your sword. That's great. You have to like sneak around the whole dungeon to get your sword. And as soon as you get it, you get tossed out of the place, right? And then you go through a fire dungeon. That's like the first real dungeon. Is a fire and it's just totally left field and totally different from Zelda. I love it. I really love that. So it's, like then Twilight Princess, it was just the same thing again. First spend 4 hours farming and fishing and then collecting stuff. Literally 4 hours doing that, and then you get your forest dungeon, your fire dungeon, your water dungeon. And it felt very, and I love Twilight Princess for many reasons, but that first bit for it felt very like, okay, I'm like kind of dragging through here. And then I feel like that game really comes alive when you get the Master Sword and you get the ability to switch on the fly between wolf and human ones.
Yeah.
that's for me. Like, there's really great parts before that too. In particular, people are gonna hate me for saying this. I really like the water temple.
I
I
actually
like
didn't
them
think
too.
that water temple was too hard.
No, so here's the thing. A lot of people that hate the water temple got lost and played it when they were a kid. So
Okay.
all Nintendo games, there's an interview where Miyamoto, or I think it's Miyamoto, talking about every Nintendo game is designed to be beaten by a kid. So if like, and they're testers for like Zelda dungeons and stuff, for Mario levels. If something is too hard and a kid keeps dying over and over, they will rework it to make it easier for those kids to beat, because Nintendo doesn't want kids to give up and stop playing. Like, if they get to a level and they're like, this is too hard, I don't want to play it anymore, then when another game comes out, they're not going to want to buy it. But if they're able to beat that, then they'll be like, oh yeah, that was really awesome, I beat the level. Then they'll continue playing it and beat it, and then when the next one comes out, be like, yeah, that last game, like, you know, they feel good about it because they were able to beat the last one. So they purposefully make every Nintendo game, aside from Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze probably, easy enough for kids to beat. Like, they are literally designed for little kids to beat. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, but that's the thing. Like, Nintendo, like, that's just how they are. Because if you look at other games, it's like Mario Deluxe. We recently got smart steering for kids.
In the
Donkey
first
Kong
Donkey Kong
Tropical
Country
Freeze.
Returns, you can ask God to beat the level for you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but
Yeah.
if you
Yeah, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, you got funky mode.
Like, you want us to do it for you.
Yeah, so
So, like,
with Zelda, in Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D, they had the stones, the Sheikah stones that you could crawl into that would give you hints on where you needed to go and what you needed to do. Skyward Sword had the same thing in Skyloft, beside the sword place. There was the stone that popped up that you could go talk to that would give you things. In Mario, like, it would literally, I think, show you how to beat the level, or it would beat it for you. Super Mario 3D Land and I think 3D World. So for the 3DS and the Wii U, you could get the gold Tanuki suit if you keep dying. So they give you advice and helps, or literally beat the game for you if you can't do it yourself. But ever since the Wii days, they've been purposefully designing games from the ground up to be beaten by little kids, which I mentioned in a video, and then a lot of people were like, little kids couldn't beat Breath of the Wild, they didn't design it for little kids.
My
Have you met
5-year-old
Daniel's
son,
child?
my 5-year-old son has beat both Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey.
No, but
I'm
there's
very proud of him, okay?
that is awesome. But there are people that comment that in the chat, and I just link, like, I'll go and comment and be like, actually, and then I'll link them to the exact interview where Nintendo says, hey, part of our game testers is adults and teenagers, but we also have little kids, and if the kids find it too hard, they'll go back in, rework the levels to purposefully make them easier for the kids.
Which I just had a random thought, and this shows what apparently sleeping pills do to me. Because, you know how we said a couple minutes ago about what if the champions were the bosses we had to fight in the dungeons, or in the Divine Beast? And I was like, well, I know they're originally, before they changed them to Koroks, it was originally going to be like possibly Kokiri Forest children, and they might have had a Divine Beast there. I was like, what if they had went with Koroks and had a Divine Beast, and you had to fight a possessed Korok?
You should take sleeping pills every week.
You have to fight. Who's the dancing Korok that fills up your bag? Hestu.
Hestu.
You have to fight Hestu.
He chucks his maracas at you.
Here's a bit of trivia. If you talk to him while you take off all your clothes and you're naked and you talk to him, he will comment on it. He'll be like, "You're naked. I'm naked. We're naked together." It's great.
Know that.
It's great.
So
It's
funny.
great.
Yeah, he does the Nikki dance.
Yeah, I love it.
I have to go find Hetsu and do this.
Yes, you have to. Everyone watching, do it now.
I missed it
It's so
whenever
funny.
you did it live, but I was watching the live stream and I missed Ilya doing this for the dance.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you
Or like he opens
in
up his
chat.
maraca and chucks Korok seeds at you.
Yeah. Big Ang Barakas in the chat says yes.
I was gonna say, Yushay in chat. Ilya's not talkative right now because she's tired. She's ready for
Yeah.
bed.
Which
Sorry.
they throw
I normally
golden
wouldn't be. It's
feces
because
at
of
you.
the pills.
All right. So speaking of Ilya, what
do I
is
know?
your thing? Are we're done with yours, Daniel? What you would
Mine was
change?
just
We were on
Tropes.
yours, dude.
We're
Yeah,
on mine.
no,
Did we not
yours
go to
was-
Ilya?
We haven't gone to Ilya yet.
No.
I
I think
think
you were
just-
commenting on
You
Daniel's.
mine.
Yeah, but we didn't go to mine because I was gonna wait to make sure
Yeah.
that Ilya didn't
Oh,
say it
okay.
because I don't want to take hers. So Ilya.
Oh, well, it's really hard for me to choose, but this
She
is
pulls
like
out a list of 50 things.
Like, but
no, there are some things that I could. I got very opinionated about a movie that I was talking to my mom about
Motion
earlier that she
controls.
likes, and I was like, I hate blah blah blah, and she was like, wow, you're opinionated. I'm like, yeah.
It's true.
But I'm working on it. I would say I personally don't enjoy the aspect of possessing characters and taking them around. Like, I love medley, but I think it's a really cool feature and I see why people like it, but it's just not my taste.
Yeah,
I don't like having to
Yep.
possess these creatures.
just let it be.
And for anyone that's wondering who probably like sees like a cross on my wall, it's not because I think it's like dark magic or something. If I were that type of person, I wouldn't be playing video games.
True.
Just saying. But I don't like it as a game mechanic, personally.
And I feel like it could have been reworked to just not like you can still play the character, like switch which player, but like not have Link literally like mind control them, because that's what happens in Wind Waker. He plays the command melody,
Yeah.
and he's like mind controlling them. It
It's
feels
creepy.
weird and sleazy.
Or even like the when you have to take around the statues in Twilight Princess. I don't like doing that.
No,
But that's just me.
What about Princess Ruto in Ocarina of Time?
Nope.
Just
Where you
carrying
have
her.
to, you don't possess her, but you carry her around.
I hate it.
So you
What
hate
about putting the
the
Decker Princess in a bottle on Majora's Mask?
That was fine. And it actually was hilarious.
So what about the single player mode in Four Swords Adventure Anniversary mode or Anniversary Edition on the 3DS?
I have not played those.
Where
What
you,
about
you press
Minish
L
Cap,
and R.
where you have to split into 4, and then you're it's the same thing, really.
Yeah, like you press L or R to switch between the
I
characters.
imagine I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, and then
I have not
Triforce
played
Heroes. Triforce Heroes is the same way in single player mode. So basically, there's another one: Majora's Mask, Cafe side quest.
Yeah. Well, he still moves like as quickly and such as Link does, I feel like. But
Okay.
And
it's also
then
been a while.
So is it the sentiment behind like possessing a character, or is it just like that they feel like a burden to deal with having them?
Feels like a burden to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
I mean,
What
it is
about-
creepy to possess someone. I do think that's really, really creepy. Like you said, the command melody. But the actual mechanic of having to do it, I find
Okay.
annoying.
You don't like escort missions.
Yeah, that's Escort Missions.
Ah.
Big Ang in the chat says, what about Cappy? Oh wait, wrong series.
Oh, yes.
No.
Yeah, that's why I thought I might not like Mario Odyssey, but I was like, they literally centered the game around this, so they made it work really well in a
They
way that I
totally
really
did.
don't mind at all and love,
Yeah.
actually.
The only other thing I can think about is Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks. At one point, you can play as a Goron,
Oh, that is Phantom Hourglass.
and then
Gone, Goron.
Yeah, and
Yes.
then you can use Zelda to possess the phantoms, and then
Spirit Tracks.
A Link to the Past has the rescue Zelda thing at the very beginning.
Mhm.
But yeah, you just take
But
the
she doesn't
escort
affect,
missions.
like, she doesn't affect like the gameplay really.
Yeah.
Like she's invincible, and she will just follow you, like one like sprite distance behind you.
yeah,
She doesn't really like if you turn around and try and hit her, like nothing happens. An enemy can't attack her.
And there's the glitch in the game where you can, while you have Zelda following you, you can do the glitch to where you can skip to the very end of the game. So then it's like Zelda laying on the thing, so you have 2 Zeldas.
Super weird.
Yeah, but anyways, you just don't like the escort missions that kind of slow you down. They get really tedious. So I actually agree. I really like when, like, if a second player could pick up the controller and be like, oh, this part's 2-player if you want it to be. I think that would be really cool. Like in Triforce Heroes, it can be a multiplayer or you can switch back and forth.
Should be multiplayer.
Yeah. So if Nintendo was like, here, this is a part you can switch between the 2 characters at this section of the dungeon, or you can do it multiplayer, then I think it would be a lot easier. So anyways, what were you saying?
In the chat here, Ethan3D is asking about the escort mission in Breath of the Wild. Have you played that part yet, Illya?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take it from the look on your face that you haven't.
I'm not saying who or what it is.
I don't want to say who it is, but...
Were you talking about where you're supposed to follow the little Korok?
No.
Nope.
Oh, because I hate that one and I haven't done that trial.
All right.
Which...
Okay. Not being...
No, I don't want to spoil it for you then.
What divine beasts have you done?
I've done all of them.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yunobo.
We had him on last week.
Oh.
He follows you up the mountain.
Yeah, duh.
Technically,
he escorts you. Bad. I mean, you have to tell him to stop, but for some reason, I guess, that one didn't stand out to me, so I guess I was fine with that one.
All right.
I'm like, I've done all the divine beasts. What are you talking about?
Yeah. All right. So,
But I hate that Korok trial. I haven't done it because of that.
4th.
Yeah, that one's annoying. Actually.
Thing, I guess.
Yay.
All right. So, long and tedious intros. That kind of go on for a long time and make things slow. Twilight Princess.
You mean tutorials or story intro?
Both.
The
really,
tutorials.
Like, they're usually one and the same, though. Like,
well, no, she means like Skyward Sword story intro, like where, or like Ocarina of Time story intro.
I'm thinking like Wind Waker's story intro, like.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha.
So just the tutorials, to where like Breath of the Wild puts you on, like the tutorial is the Great Plateau, but the tutorial isn't. It doesn't feel like a tutorial. It's the same as the rest of the game, but like on a smaller thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like an objective. It's like, you need to do the tower. You need to do these 4 shrines.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
And it still pushes you, like, it's still challenging on the plateau. Especially because you only have 3 hearts and you're scrambling for weapons and stuff.
Yeah, and Ocarina of Time had a great tutorial to where it's like basically everything until you get to Hyrule Field. Well, I looked at it because the tutorial, or like the first dungeon, the Deku Tree, like when you went to the vines, it's like you can climb a vine by going forward, or you can open a door by pressing this. So the dungeon itself was a tutorial, but it was done in such a way that it didn't feel like a long, tedious tutorial. It just like you only need like 2 minutes, and then you can go to the dungeon, which is really cool. And then Majora's Mask kind of keeps you inside Clocktown for like the first 3 days. There's no way to skip that, which is kind of tedious if you already know what to do. Wind Waker.
You can skip some time by like dancing with the scarecrow.
True.
You don't have the ocarina, so you can't do the Song of Double Time, but there's only so much you can skip at that point.
Yeah, and then what is there? So Twilight Princess has a really long one. I've been replaying through Skyward Sword, has sort of a long one, because I look at the entire part until you get to the first dungeon as a tutorial. Like finding all of the key keys is really tedious. So like teaching
that's
you
even
how to
worse,
fly
because
and
I was
everything.
looking at it in the sense that like until you get to the surface is tutorial. So if you're including all of that stuff, like you land at the sealed grounds and you go through the Faron Woods and everything, like all of that still, like that just makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And then
that's
with like Twilight Princess, like until you get to Hyrule Field as a human, Like it's a long time before you're able to like open up and explore and stuff. But yeah, like if they were more like Ocarina of Time or Breath of the Wild, that would be really cool. A Link to the Past, I think the tutorial is until you rescue Zelda, I guess.
Yeah, as soon as you get out of the sanctuary.
Yeah.
So when you rescue Zelda, bring her to the sanctuary. As soon as that's done, I feel like that's where the tutorial ends, because like the doors open, Hyrule's abound. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Go, you know.
So yeah, same with the Link Between Worlds, like literally the same with the Link Between Worlds. So
there's a little bit more in a Link Between Worlds because you have to like run some errands, but yeah.
So what's the fifth thing that we can all agree on? Who suggested it last time for the fifth?
I think
thing?
I did.
Illya did.
All right. Do you have another suggestion, Illya? Kayla? Daniel?
This is difficult because I
Person
really
behind
like these
Daniel?
games.
Link, what's your least favorite thing?
No, the mask.
It's not Link. Been watching me.
See the mask on the light?
Seen it.
It's right
Look
there.
into the light, Illya.
I'm pointing, but you can't see.
Look into the light.
It's really hard to see. Yeah.
Between
You
his
wouldn't be
head
able
and the
to see
shelf.
it without- Oh, he's.
Do you
I
see
can
it?
barely notice it.
Oh.
It's a Fallout mask on his lamp.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Majora's Mask.
Oh no.
It's the mask.
It's from the video that we did while we were all staying in the house
Oh.
at E3, the Fallout video, like meanwhile in Vault 76. Have you seen that video?
I don't do Fallout.
No, it's not a Fallout game video. It's a video.
It's a video we made while we were at
a 9-second
E3.
video.
Yeah, we'll send it to you after. It's,
The really short one with all the
Yeah.
masks? Yes,
Yeah.
I saw that and I was just
So
like...
that was mine. I just put it on this lamp
Also,
here.
for everyone watching, the Kermit video was also a stroke of genius.
That was amazing. I'm working on the script for the next one. It's just trying to it's
Odyssey.
hilarious. It's Odyssey from the
Perspective of Yiga.
From the perspective
Kermit?
of
or no, just a different Kermit. Maybe.
I was gonna go with Yiga Kermit again,
Okay,
but
yeah.
perspective of Bowser,
Brutal's
guy,
Kermit.
and I guess I could go with Brutal's Kermit. I'll change it to Brutal's Kermit actually because that's better.
So funny.
But like Link, not like
Yeah,
Mario.
you could put something in there.
The
about
wedding
how-
crasher who's ruining, their happy day.
That's nice. I wrote a review for
Ruining the wedding.
He's ruining their wedding day.
season 5 for Fallout, or not Fallout. Season 5 for Fortnite. Fork knife.
Fork knife.
Yeah. But that one's more informative than anything because there's nothing really funny that you can do because there's no story. But anyways, what's a fifth thing so we can end this?
Yes.
All I've got is Tingle and Rain.
Tingle and Rain. Okay, let's recap. So, Kayla said
Bosses.
bosses. Daniel said
Tropes.
Ilya
But
said
not all tropes. Just to clarify.
Escort Missions.
Jesse said
Long tutorials.
okay.
Yes.
So bosses, long
Sorry.
tutorials, tropes, escort missions. What's a fifth thing?
I don't know how well this would work. I don't know if it's going to make sense. I don't know if anything I'm saying right now makes sense. I'm so sorry. This is worse than me having wine. Although I can only have like one cup and I'm gone. So
I would love to see a wine.
I've never been drunk
really.
and I refuse to ever get drunk.
I think next time we have like a meetup trip like we did for E3, Illya, you're coming.
I would hope so.
We will change you.
No, I refuse to get drunk.
No.
I can't.
You can be the one
okay.
babysitting everyone. All right. So what's the thing?
I'll be Dee Dee. What was I gonna say? Oh, I guess it doesn't have as much to do with the games as much as because I'm a big fan of the fact that the developers and designers of these games do really try to take what the players want into account. There was backlash on Wind Waker, so they're like, okay, they want more realistic. But at the same time, I think there are times where they take it almost too harshly. I don't know if that makes sense. I love Twilight Princess. It's one of my favorites. But I almost feel like I guess it's more of like a pity for them. I almost feel bad. I'm like, it pushes them, so there's good that comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But like the fact, maybe it's the fan base that we're so picky.
the fan base is the worst.
This is what if no one else could come up with something, this is what I was gonna put out there too. Was the bad fans.
Oh yeah, the bad fans. Yeah. So that works, the bad fans. Because with taking the feedback, Breath of the Wild, the reason it is such a huge, giant open world is because everybody was like, Skyward Sword didn't have a Hyrule field. And then when you did get to the areas, like, they're so small. And then if you look at Twilight Princess, yeah, it has a huge overworld, but getting from one area to another, it's like a little snake trail getting from one area to another. It's not a giant field the entire time. So whenever they made Breath of the Wild, they were like, okay, they don't want like tiny little trails connecting one area to another. Because if you look at the map of Twilight Princess, it's like one giant southern Hyrule field, and then a tiny little trail, and then like giant northern Hyrule field, and then like a tiny little trail, and then Kakariko Village. So they were like, they don't want that. They missed Hyrule Field in Skyward Sword, so we're just going to make everything Hyrule Field. Like, even if you get to a location inside Hyrule Field, like Kakariko Village, it's not just like one way in, one way out, like Kakariko Village normally is. In Twilight Princess, it had two. But it's like, you can literally just drop in from the sky. You can, like, there's dozens of ways. Like, you can enter from any direction. It's not just one location connected to a larger Hyrule Field. It's like, it is inside Hyrule Field. So
yeah, which is great,
like,
by the way. That's one of the things. Because as a kid, my curiosity was always like, what's up? Like, on Ocarina of Time, like, what's above those walls? So everything is like walled off.
Yeah.
What's on the other side? You know?
Why can't Epona go up the stairs to Kakariko?
Why can't Epona go upstairs?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make her like trot up a mountain in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. And then it's like in Twilight or Breath of the Wild, it's like, why is the Guardian following us to Kakariko Village? Like in Ocarina of Time or Ocarina of Time, like you want the animal to follow you in, but in Breath of the Wild, it's like there's too many things that'll just wander off there, or like you can get them to go there. But anyways, I think that brings us to the very, very end. Bad fans, don't be a bad fan, everybody.
We love you when you're great and you're good humans, but sometimes not everyone is.
J-Link in the chat. Yeah, after this, we're gonna have a 6-hour live stream of Fortnite with Kayla.
I'm going to bed.
No. So, Kayla sobered up quick, by the way, Gibbs. Alright, so people in the chat are talking, but yeah, thank you all again. If you like this video, go watch the top 5 best that posted the day before this video went up, so it should be literally the video right before this one. If you go to the YouTube page, you can follow Kayla. Where can they follow you?
You can find me as Chublima on Tumblr, Instagram, and Twitter. Twitter I'm most active on. And RuneScape Mobile came out, so please still add me on RuneScape.
Nice. Daniel, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at CaptBurgerson, CaptBurgerson. I also have a website called Burgerson Media, or Burgers on Media? One of those. Burgerson Media. But someone pointed that out to me. Burgersonmedia.com, where I post all of the projects that I work on, or at least links to them, including music that is royalty-free that you can use in your videos if you want to. Just tell me if you do, because I want to see it. And I also can make other things for you, because I do editing magic sometimes. And most importantly, I do this podcast every single week on this channel right here. So that's where you can find me as well.
Yes. Illya, you have a lot of cool stuff on your YouTube channel that you're posting now.
Yes, I post every other Wednesday, so I currently only have 3 videos, but that's because I want to make sure I have enough content ready at all times.
Specific time on Wednesday?
No,
or is it just
sometime when I wake up. This last one that I did, it was like 1 a.m. my time, so I was like, technically it's not Wednesday for people Pacific time, but I'm making it public anyway, because it's the next day for someone. For me, it was. But yes, if you go to Illya space Rose on YouTube, I do geeky videos. Most of them have been Zelda related, or all three of them have had something to do with Zelda, but this next one does not have anything to do with Zelda. It's a different geek thing. It's a top 5. And Daniel makes I'm pointing this way, but I don't know where he is actually on the YouTube thing.
To the left of you. I don't.
So I need to point this way?
There you go.
Yeah.
So Daniel made my intro. So, because
I did that.
it was awesome, and I loved the intro. So, haha. But I'm also on Twitter. I don't really do anything cool on there, but at Rose_Illya, and then I post a lot of weird pictures on Instagram at IllyaRose_Geek Apprentice.
All right.
So yeah.
Nice. So I am GameOverJesse. Twitter is GameOverJesse at GameOverJesse. Facebook, we have a Facebook fan page. 7,000 of you like it. Maybe we can get to 8,000 sometime soon. Instagram is /GameOverJesse. Also on Facebook, there is a Facebook group that you can join. I don't know the URL to it, but you can just type in GameOverJesse. It's GameOverJesse and Friends. It is a partner group, I guess, for our Discord, also titled GameOverJesse and Friends. So if you don't care about your personal Facebook being friended by people, then you can join that group, talk about videos or other Nintendo related stuff. There's a little over 1,000 of you there, so that's really cool. So yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, everything is /GameOverJesse. Follow me on Instagram because a lot of you have been doing that recently, but I don't know why. I don't really post that often, but thank you for those who do. And we recently passed 65,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is really, really great. I think the last time I checked, we had 65,300, maybe 400 now. I don't know. But thank you all. Next week, I'm not quite sure which voice actor we will have on, but we are going to continue our Champion series with the voice actors. So we had Zelda, we had Daruk, we just had Rivali, we're going to have Urbosa, Mifa, Sidon, maybe? He's not a champion. King Rome, he's not a champion, but we're going to try to have all these people, so thank you all. Because without you watching the channel and subscribing, we wouldn't have the opportunity to interview all these people and talk to them. They would just be like, who are you? You're just a normal loser person. But since we have the podcast and all the subscribers, they're like, oh, maybe this will benefit me too. So then they come on. So thank you. With all of that, I think we're ready to go. Kermit. Yes, Kermit. All right.
Good
Bye,
night,
everybody.
guys.
Bye.